So over summer, Rugby League couldn't stop talking about the Sydney Roosters. Not about systems, not about coaching, not even about premiership windows. It was about who was out the door. Angus Crichton, Marky Mark, Joseph Suaalii, Joey Manu, big names, elite athletes, prime years, all to rugby union. And suddenly, the conversation has shifted. How does a club cope when this keeps happening? What does it do to culture, to depth, to identity? And it's a fair question if you've never been through it. Because while Sydney is only just starting to feel this pressure, the Brisbane Broncos have been living with it for decades. This isn't a new problem in Brisbane. This is old ground. The Broncos didn't lose one star in panic. They became the club other sports went shopping at. Welcome back to the Old Skool Broncos Podcast. This isn't a weekly wrap. This isn't a hot take from last weekend. This is where we slow things down, add context, and look at the bigger picture around this club and its place in Australian sport. Today, we're stepping away from ladder positions and looking at something the Broncos have dealt with more than most. Broncos players who left the game entirely. For opportunities in other sports, whether it be rugby, AFL, and in one case, professional wrestling, some thrived, some struggled, some came back later, and some just didn't return at all. But every one of them tells the same story. When you produce elite athletes in Brisbane, the rest of the sporting world takes notice. So let's slow it down, take a breath, and look back. Before the Code Wars became front page news, there was Willie Carne. Mid-90s Willie Carne was unstoppable. He wasn't just quick, he was clever. The roaming winger, the kick returner who popped up where you didn't expect it. The attacking instincts and the cross-field aerials that set the tone for what wingers do today. That wasn't the norm back then. Carne created it. He looked set for a long run at the top. Then, in 1996, with injury starting to bite, he made the switch to the Queensland Reds. And this is an important lesson early in the story. Not every great league player becomes a great rugby player. The space is different, the rhythm is different, the nuance of the positions is very different. Carne didn't disgrace himself, but the magic didn't translate. The switch was short-lived and retirement followed not long after. There was the first real sign that the Broncos' talent didn't just belong to rugby league. Then came the one that changed everything, Wendell Sailor. At the absolute peak of his career, Sailor walked away from rugby league. Not because he was past it, not because he was unwanted, because he wanted a bigger test. He wanted Jonah Lomu. And yes, the money mattered too. He did get paid well. He started with the Queensland Reds before moving to the Waratahs, where the more expansive style suited him far better. And unlike some converts, Sailor actually worked. He became a Wallaby, a genuine international threat, and in the 2003 Rugby World Cup, he was one of Australia's more important players. That tournament cemented him as one of the most successful cross-code athletes Australia has ever produced. Not long after Sailor, another Broncos winger followed him across, Lote Tuqiri. The timing couldn't have been better. He moved straight to the Waratahs just before the 2003 Rugby World Cup and hit peak form at exactly the right moment. Power, finish, confidence. For a period, Lote was widely regarded as the best winger in world rugby. His World Cup performances were elite, and he didn't just cash in, he earned his place. Eventually, he returned to rugby league with the West Tigers and then the South Sydney Rabbitohs, where he picked up his second NRL premiership. 2 codes, 2 premierships, one rare athlete with signature dreadlocks. Now, most code switching stories are about back, but Peter Ryan took the hardest path. A fearless back rower, Ryan moved to the ACT Brumbies, a team built on physicality and precision. League forward switching to rugby is brutal. The rucks are technical, the fitness demands are relentless, the collisions never stop. Ryan used his timing, aggression, and work rate to bring extra bite to a defence that already liked to hit. Not flashy, but hugely respected. One of the few forwards who proved it could be done. Then we have Berrick Barnes. This always felt like a sliding doors moment. He debuted for the Broncos in 2005, almost straight out of school. League junior, talked about as the next great 5'8", lots of comparisons to Wally Lewis. But Barnes saw something else. A global game, travel, opportunity to see the world. He switched to rugby after one season, joined the Reds, and soon after was wearing Wallaby gold. His move to the Waratahs was where he truly matured. Game management, leadership, confidence, then Japan, and then into coaching. A career shaped not by what he left behind, but by what he chased. If versatility had a face, it would be Karmichael Hunt. League, rugby, AFL, rugby, back to league. After finishing with the Broncos in 2009, Hunt shocked everyone by signing with the Gold Coast Suns as an inaugural AFL player for the club. A short stint in French rugby between the seasons, and he was on the Goldie putting miles into his legs. The transition was brutal. League strength had to become endurance. Explosiveness had to stretch over kilometres. He worked harder than most, but the body transformation was unforgiving. He moved back to rugby, playing for the Reds and Waratahs, and donning the Wallaby gold. And finally, one last run with the Broncos under Kevin Walters in 2021, helping a broken club stabilise after the wooden spoon years. And of course, Israel Folau is on this list. After time at the Storm, he spent a few years at Brisbane before following Hunt into the AFL, this time with the GWS Giants. The AFL experiment did not work. The fit just wasn't right, and it was clear he went for the financial reward rather than the challenge. But that opened the door to the 15-man game. Rugby unlocked him. 73 test caps, one of the most dominant aerial athletes in the game, one of the highest paid players in the world. Then it ended suddenly, sacked after expressing religious views on social media. A career of extremes, pure brilliance and controversy side by side. If there is a blueprint for crosscode success, then it comes down to the greatest one. It's Brad Thorn. 2 stints at the Broncos, 2 stints in rugby union, and excellence everywhere he went. He won 3 premierships with Brisbane, then went to the Crusaders and forced his way into the All Blacks. In 2005, he came back to the Broncos, tougher, sharper, and helping drive the club to another premiership in 2006. Then back to rugby again. 59 tests for New Zealand, 11 origins for Queensland, 3 tests for Australia, and some Super League rep stuff as well. Now he's into coaching and just finished a stint with the Queensland Reds. Brad Thorn didn't just cross codes, he mastered them. Without doubt, the best convert of all time. Twice. Then we look at our current assistant coach, Ben Teo. After leaving the Broncos, he won a premiership with South Sydney before chasing a new challenge in rugby. England caps followed, then the ultimate honour, selection for the British and Irish Lions. Very few league converts ever reached that level. He finished his career in Super Rugby before a final chapter with the Broncos during the COVID-affected 2020 season. From a player to a mentor to a coach, he's gone full circle. And then Daniel Vidot. After stints with Canberra, St George, Brisbane, and in the Super League, Vidot took the most unexpected turn of all: professional wrestling. In 2018, he signed with WWE under the name Zion Quinn. From NXT to SmackDown, a 6-second loss to Bron Breakker, a 20-man Battle Royale appearance, outrageous, unexpected, and somehow fitting. He was in the highlight reels. He was on everyone's lips in the WWE. So there you have it. So when the league panics about players leaving the Roosters, remember this: the Broncos have been exporting elite athletes for decades. Rugby, AFL, global sports. And through it all, the club survived. Sure, there were some opportunities missed along the way, but every time a player left, the next man stood up. Great clubs don't cling, they develop, evolve, and reload. The Broncos learned that lesson early. I'm sure there are plenty of stories I've missed though, and some wild switches I've forgotten. So who else belongs on this list? And what is the craziest code change you can remember? Remember to like, share, and subscribe. This is the Old Skool Broncos Podcast. Let's go, Broncos.